Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 28th of April, now it's 1 o'clock, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for today, in which I will share all the latest news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Second update will be on Patreon, a little bit late on in the afternoon. This way, by creating some extra content for Patreon, I hope I will generate enough interest among our community so that I will have a little bit more subscribers on Patreon, and this way I will have opportunity to continue this work and development of this channel. And by the way, we did reach 9,000 mark, which is great. So let me thank all of you for your time, attention, and support. I'm truly grateful. You've been very kind to me, so thank you very much. That's been said, let's talk about news now, and I will start with Kursk region today, if I may, because according to some media outlets, some Russian media outlets, including RIA Novosti, during the night time between the 26th and 27th of April, Zelensky's regime did try to strike Kursk nuclear power plant. Kiev did use a drone for this failed strike, and Russian air defense systems did manage to shut down this drone. But once again, I wanted to share with you this information to highlight what kind of individuals Zelensky and his henchmen are. They are almost on daily basis conducting strikes on Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, and now they are trying to hit nuclear power plants deep inside Russian territory also. So, if you remember in previous days, I did mention many times that maybe Zelensky's regime should be declared as a terrorist organization, and I'm going to maintain my position. They should be declared as terrorists, and this will give Moscow additional legal means to take care of them. But yet again, these kind of decisions are not up to me. But news itself is very, very, very important, and I hope Moscow will use all its diplomatic might to inform world what kind of crimes Zelensky's regime is committing and what kind of dangers they are posing, not just to Russia and Russian citizens, but to entire world, because after all, we are talking about nuclear power plants. And there is guarantees that if Zelensky's regime is not afraid to strike or conduct strikes against nuclear power plants, nuclear power plants, where is the guarantees that they're not gonna conduct terrorist attacks with use of chemical or biological weapons? There is no such guarantees, because those criminals are capable to do anything, just absolutely anything, because they are disgraceful, degenerate, degraded human beings. Absolutely degraded human beings. It's hard to even use word human towards those animals, really. Let's continue, and this is RIA Novosti's report, according to which Zelensky's terrorist regime entire night was shelling Nova Kakhovka in Kherson region. Let me show you this area. This is Nova Kakhovka, by the way, and according to Russian media, Zelensky's regime was striking city itself and surrounding areas during the entire night. One may say this is done in attempt to cause some panic among civilians in Nova Kakhovka and surrounding areas. And same time, this may be also preparation of Zelensky's regime to conduct some counteroffensive operations in direction of this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia. As you know, I did predicted this kind of development quite some time ago, and I did said many times that in attempt to prepare counteroffensive, Zelensky's regime will become more active in direction of Kherson region, especially when it in the direction of Nova Kakhovka, because of this dam, man. This dam has a crucial meaning for both sides, because this is only way right now to move heavy military equipment from one bank of the river to another. So that's the news. Let me continue. And by the way, this is latest. Yes, TASS news agency is reporting that Zelensky's regime second time today did strike Donetsk. Also, as I understand, Grad multi-launch rocket systems were used to shell city, indiscriminately shell city, civilians basically. And do anyone surprised by this? Of course not. We are talking about terrorists, man. Zelensky and his henchmen, they are terrorists, and that's what they do. They are committing terrorist attacks. And by the way, today, before I continue, let me share news that about Russian missile strike that did take place previous night. According to Russian and Ukrainian sources, Russia did launch from 20 to 30 cruise missiles to strike on military and logistical infrastructure of Zelensky's regime. According to Ukrainian side, they did manage to shut down more than 95% of Russian missiles. It's up to you what you're gonna believe. Me personally, I highly doubt that Zelensky's regime was able to shut down even 30 or 40% of Russian cruise missiles. After all, even Western media outlets are openly now saying that in next few weeks, Ukrainian forces will run out of missiles for air defense systems. So I don't think that they are anywhere close to shut down 80, 90 or more percents of aerial targets. No way. But during the strike, one missile, and I did share information on my Telegram channel also, and during the strike, Zelensky's regime did once again use air defense systems over the city. So this is the result of it. It is reported that a high-rise building was blown up in Uman when Ukrainian air defense attempt to shut down cruise missile. I believe this is not an accident, because I just said, even Western media is saying that Zelensky's regime is running out of missiles for air defense systems, and if that's the case, then this book, air defense systems, S-300 air defense systems, Tor air defense systems that Zelensky still has left, will lose any meaning, because without missiles, those systems are just nothing. And that's why when I see this information, first what come up to my mind was that Zelensky's regime specially used its air defense systems over the city to create exactly this kind of situation when parts of missiles will hit civilian apartments, and then Zelensky's regime will use this tragedy as an opportunity to ask Western elites for more weapons and more money, especially air defense systems. And you will see exactly this scenario will be played by Zelensky and his henchmen. Just look at it, man. They will conduct themselves exactly this way. They will ask West, they will try to demonize Russia once again, and they will try to ask West, or even demand, more money and more weapons, especially air defense systems. Just look at it, man. And I believe maybe all the other instances when Zelensky's regime did use air defense systems over the cities was done exactly for this reason, to create this kind of situations when destroyed parts of destroyed missiles are hitting civilians, and then use this tragedy as a possibility to promote this themselves and their agenda among Western elites, and ask for more money and more weapons. That's it, man. And you tell me what kind of humans they are, really. If they even are humans, for God's sake. They are mass murderers and terrorists, man. Because Russian Defense Ministry said many times, Russian Defense Ministry stated many times that for air defense systems to be effective, it's not necessary to be used over the cities. It's just not necessary. Absolutely, you can use air defense systems before cities or after cities. Why you are using those air defense systems over the cities to shut down missiles over the cities, man? It just don't makes any sense. But as I said, Zelensky's regime did use this. Will use this tragedy now to ask for more money and for more weapons. And because I'm on my Telegram channel, I will also share a few informations. Alexander Vucic was hospitalized, president of Serbia. Not much known about his condition right now, but he'll be all right. He'll be all right, probably. So that's important news. Russian defense minister is in New Delhi in India because defense ministers have defense ministers of countries that are participating in Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) are in New Delhi now and have some negotiations. And as I understand, Russian Defense Minister Shoigu already had meeting with Chinese Defense Minister, and he was invited in China, and he accepted invitation. So yes, I did share update from Military Summary, one of the big channels that are concentrating their attention on this crisis, Ukrainian crisis, much more than I do or many other channels. So yes, let me continue now with some other news, and we have a statement from Vladimir Rogov, official from Zaporozhye region, and he said that Zelensky's regime will most definitely conduct maritime or amphibious operation in the direction of Energodar and Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, but this will be not a major direction of counteroffensive of Zelensky's regime, but according to Rogov, by attempting this kind of operations, Zelensky's regime will try to distract Russian side and force Russian side to pull off some troops from some other critical directions, so that Ukrainian forces will have better opportunities to achieve some success in the main direction of the anticipated by many counteroffensive. Well, I'm not gonna. In this case, I will partially disagree with Rogov, because yes, I do believe, and I said many times before, that one of the direction of Ukrainian counteroffensive will be Energodar and Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, like Novaya Kakhovka or Kherson region in general. But of course, main direction, if Zelensky's regime will even be able to conduct large-scale counteroffensive, main direction, of course, will come from Orekhov region in direction of Melitopol, and then Berdyansk. Maybe Zelensky's regime will try to conduct some offensive operations from Gulyai-Pole and Uglidar. But yet again, lately I have more and more reasons to doubt that Zelensky's regime will be able to conduct any large-scale counteroffensive whatsoever. They will try to, and will probably definitely conduct some local scale offensive operations so that they will have something to show to the Western masters, especially in Washington and London. But when it comes to large scale counteroffensive, because this kind of action will be absolutely suicidal for Zelensky, personally for Zelensky, I don't think he will give such an order to Ukrainian militaries. Because once Russian side will repeal this counteroffensive, and once this anticipated by many Ukrainian operation will fail, Zelensky as a politician will be done. And after that, it will only take, I don't know, months or two, and Washington will take care of him. Washington will remove him with use of its assets in Ukrainian military and Ukrainian secret services. So Zelensky may be stupid, but not that stupid to don't understand what is happening. So that's why I think there will be some offensive operations, but nothing like big scale. Nothing like on big scale. Zelensky's regime just don't have enough forces to conduct such an operation successfully. That's very important. They can try, but between try and success, it's a huge difference. Let's continue now, and this is quite interesting news because according to RIA Novosti, during the night from 26th to 27th of April, Russian side did conduct a missile strike in Nikolaev direction, and during this strike 20 high-ranking military personnel were killed according to sources of RIA Novosti, and among those officers were high-ranking Western officers, also English-speaking officers. There is no additional information from which country those officers were, but they were talking English. If I heard the talk, I will say straight away by accent they are from UK or US, but it seems like source of RIA Novosti, maybe don't know English that much so that he can distinguish accents. But yes, when it comes to English speaking Western military personnel in Ukraine, mainly it's UK and US. Of course, Canada probably are sending some of its personnel, but in Nikolaev direction, as I understand, it's UK. It's UK and UK's special services, secret services that are active because it's under their leadership. Zelensky's regime is conducting maritime or planning maritime operations, especially with use of drones. And if you remember, about a week ago, Zelensky's regime did try to strike with drones, maritime drones, Sevastopol. So maybe this strike from Russian side was a retaliatory measure. But yet again, after this conflict will end, we will probably learn some more. But I'm quite sure among those 20 high-ranking officers that were killed during that strike, foreigners were British citizens. Let's continue now. This is TASS News Agency's report, according to which German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius did made statements that promised 80 Leopard 1 tanks will be delivered to Ukraine somewhere in middle of this year. Middle of this year is now, basically, isn't it? End of May, beginning of June. But to be honest, I think majority of those Leopard 1 tanks already are in Ukraine, because just recently I did share on my Telegram channel video footage from one of the that was circulating in internet, on which some Leopard tanks were moving in column, and among Leopard 2 tanks I did saw Leopard 1 also. And they cannot be mistaken, man. They have different turrets. They are different tanks, really. So, when I see that footage, I was thinking maybe this footage was made in Poland somewhere, but because Boris Petreus is saying that they will deliver Leopard 1s in near future, I believe they already did deliver some of those tanks, and maybe one of those Leopard 1s I did saw in that footage. But anyway, of course, these German tanks will do change nothing on the front line. German or British or US tanks. US did not deliver yet any Abrams tanks, but they will change nothing really. They will prolong with these deliveries. Western elites will prolong this conflict with these deliveries of tanks and other military equipment, but they will not change outcome. And outcome will be absolute victory of Russia over criminal and terrorist Western elites. That's it. So yes, when it comes to this news, Boris Pistorius, also Petreus is a US general, isn't it? Yes, he was commanding US forces in Iraq at some point. Quite stupid person, to be honest. I mean, he was on quite a few times on CNN and MSNBC, and he was talking such a crap, man. I couldn't believe that this crazy individual was general, man, and was commanding some US groupings, military groupings in Afghanistan, man. And he was also CIA director at some point. This crazy, uneducated, stupid idiot, man. But anyhow, let's continue with this news. And according to this Boris Pistorius, Germany has already delivered to Zelensky's regime Leopard 2A6 tanks, 18 of them, and 40 Marder armored personnel carriers. And according to this Pistorius, Leopard 1A5 tanks are in process of delivering right now. And by the way, Leopard 1A5 and Leopard 1, they are different also. You cannot mistake those tanks, because turret, yet again, it's easy way to distinguish, to understand what kind of tank this is turret when it comes to Leopards. That's easy way. Leopard 1 is just basic, nothing. Too old and not really capable of anything at this stage. Leopard 2A6, yes, that's a modern, more or less modern tank and good MBT, but yet again, these deliveries won't change outcome of this conflict between Russia and Western elites. Let's continue. TASS news agency's report, according to which Shoigu, during his visit in India, as I just said a few minutes ago, defense ministers of Shanghai Cooperation Organization are having meeting there, and during this meeting, Shoigu Russian defense minister made statements according to which Pentagon is using Ukraine and its biolabs to create biological weapons. So this is it, man. We all knew it. We all think about such a possibility, and it's kind of official now, because I don't think Russian defense minister will say anything like that without strong evidence. So once again, do anyone surprised by this information? I don't think so, because I was thinking that they are creating some bioweapons. Probably you also, that they are creating some viruses and some microbes to use against other countries, other nations. And the most scary stuff is that, according to some rumors, let's say, let me use this word, rumor. According to some rumors, US elites are trying not just US elites, but globalists, let me say that way, because globalists are controlling US also, and they are using US for their geopolitical ambitions and goals. And according to some rumors, globalists want with these US biolabs want to create not just any virus that is dangerous enough. No, they are trying to create some virus, some pathogens that will somehow, I'm not expert in this field, and but that's what rumors say, that they are trying to create some weapons which will be based on genetics, on DNA, because all races and all ethnic groups have some little but difference from others, and this difference is encoded in DNA. And according to some rumors, globalists are trying to create weapons, biological weapons, that will target specific groups of people, specific race and specific ethnicity. And at some point, even some officials in Russian Defense Ministry did mention that US was trying to conduct some genetic material in Russia, for example, and on the neighboring countries with Russia. And maybe these rumors are not, maybe there is something behind it. Who knows, man? Who knows, really? Hard to tell, but that's the news, that's the information that is circulating in internet. So it's a scary stuff, for God's sake, definitely scary stuff. And I hope world leaders will demand from globalists and from their puppets answers what and why they are doing with those labs. Let's continue now, and this is also interesting. Of course, you know that a few days ago Erdogan went to hospital because he felt bad during his interview with some TV channels, and there were some different opinions about it. Me personally, I was thinking maybe he was poisoned by CIA, let's say, because CIA has a rich history of killing leaders of other countries. And Turkish medics did a great job, and Erdogan was able yesterday to have some phone call with Vladimir Putin, and then he did participate for a short time in ceremony during which Russia officially gave Turkish side the certificates about deliveries of nuclear fuel for Turkish nuclear power plant that was built by Russia. Turkish Akau nuclear power plant. So yes, Erdogan is probably okay. Turkish medics did a good job, but quite strange story nevertheless, because in few weeks time it's presidential elections in Turkey, and this kind of story with one of the major candidates that Erdogan is, this kind of stuff always raises questions. So let's continue, and this is RIA Novosti's report, according to which in Alaska 2 US helicopter gunships, Apache AH-64 Apache helicopter gunships crashed, and 3 pilots were killed. 3 pilots died during this accident, and 1 survived. Yes, unfortunately, this kind of stuff happens. So yes, I feel sorry for families of pilots. It's tragedy, of course. But yet again, man, even though U.S. elites are acting like enemies to us, I believe ordinary citizens of Russia and the US should never take each other as enemies, and we should be able to feel sorry for each other if something bad happens, and let's hope our countries will never end up in direct confrontation. Let's hope for this, because that kind of scenario will be end of this world, man. Let me continue, and this is TASS News Agency's report, according to which, yet again, man, Minister of Internal Affairs of Turkey, Süleyman Soylu, did made quite strong statements. As I said, man, this person is very become a very how should I say it? Very popular in media, in Russian media also, because he does make some strong statements lately. And this time he said that US and Europe did give order to Turkish opposition to conduct some regime change in Turkey, to take out Erdogan, basically. And this is quite, we all do understand that probably this is true, because US elites and European elites, especially French, for example, French elites, they have very difficult relationships with Erdogan and his government. Very difficult relationships. And after all, few years ago, US even did try to conduct military coup in Turkey, but they failed. They failed because Russia did warn, according to some rumors, it was Russia that did warn Erdogan about US attempt to conduct to provoke this military coup. And that's one of the reasons why relationships between Erdogan and Putin did become quite friendly during past years. So, no one gonna be surprised if we even see some factual confirmations that US elites and European elites, some of the European elites, not all of them, of course, because in Hungary probably no one cares about who's gonna be president in Turkey. But when it comes to France, yes, France does have some problems with Turkey, and I believe Süleyman Soylu is right. And there will be at least attempt to conduct some regime change in Turkey after presidential elections. That's for sure. So Erdogan and his people should be ready, and they are ready, it seems like, because otherwise they will not make these kind of statements, man. And this is not just an ordinary supporter of Erdogan. He is a Minister of Internal Affairs of Turkey. So, let's continue now. And this is interesting news and good news, really, because seems like sides in Sudan that are in conflict right now decide to prolong ceasefire for 72 hours, which is great. Maybe Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and some other countries, China, will somehow influence this situation, and if they manage that, then maybe this confrontation will stop. Confrontation that was provoked by US, really. So, and one of the reasons why, and quite a few, at least YouTube channels did report about this topic, and one of the reasons why US was not happy with Sudan, current government of Sudan, is that Khartoum did make the decision to give green light to Russia, so that Russia then will build a military naval base on Red Sea. And of course, US are not happy about it, and the US or UK, and they did manage to provoke internal conflict. And now it's, I don't know, up to neighboring countries with Sudan and up to Russia and China to use its influence so that this civil war basically will end. Let's continue. This is RIA Novosti's report, according to which, and few more news about some economical stuff. So according to this report from RIA Novosti, Microsoft is trying to stay on Russian market because it has hundreds and hundreds of high-paid clients in Russia among companies that are, all the time purchasing some products from Microsoft. And to stay on Russian market, this company is not shying to use alternative routes of deliveries. In Russia, we call it parallel import. And if you are, for example, a Russian company and you are using Microsoft software, you will be able to continue work with Microsoft. And by the way, according to this news, hundreds of Russian companies did receive a letter from Microsoft, which was saying that company wants to stay in Russia and wants to continue cooperation, and to avoid any misunderstandings, they will use means of alternative import, so that they will deliver their software not directly, not by downloading from Microsoft servers, but by alternative means. So yes, that's do you surprised by this? Me not, because these big companies, they are openly declaring that they are leaving Russia, and they don't want to stay on this market, but in reality all of them are trying to somehow keep their share in Russia, in Russian market, and make billions and billions, because after all they are making huge amounts of profits, man. Let me continue. This is RIA Novosti's report, according to which according to which Russian fuel exports surge despite Western sanctions. This is reported by Bloomberg. Bloomberg has an article about this, and we have some numbers here. So according to previous 3 weeks, Russia on daily basis were exporting 1.9 million barrels. According to reports, shipments of clean petroleum products, including diesel-type fuels, amounted up to 1.9 million barrels. So we are not talking about crude oil, we are talking about oil products. So that's 1.9 million barrels of benzene, diesel, and just everything was exported on daily basis. And if next week Russia will have same numbers, then Russia will make record that was standing since 2016. So I don't know, man. Sanctions, yes, of course, sanctions do hurt Russian economy, but same time, Russia still manages to deal with the issues, and even break some records when it comes to export sales. And this is also about oil, RIA Novosti, and now we are talking about crude oil. According to RIA Novosti's report, in 2023, Russia will redirect about 140 million tons of crude oil from Europe to Asia, Southeast Asia. And this is because of this price cap that European states did impose on Russian oil. And yes, eventually Russia will sell this oil anyway and will make money. But Europeans will have to pay, I don't know, twice more maybe for exactly the same product, because I'm quite sure majority of this of volume of this oil eventually will end up in Europe one way or another, as a diesel, as some other oil product, and price will be, much higher than if Russia will deliver it directly. But that's a price for this crazy behavior that Western elites are known for, especially lately. Let me continue. This is Arti's report about trade between Russia and India, and here we also have some great numbers. According to a report, Russia exported 41.6 billion worth of goods to India in the fiscal year beginning in April of 2022 and ending in March of 2023. So, and this is, by the way, huge increase in trade between the sides, 4 times more. I mean, trade between the sides did increase 4 times, so which is, huge, really. 400% rise. I mean, it's huge, of course. So I believe this trend will continue in this year and in next year, and basically India and China are becoming major trade partners for Russia. And these countries can not just receive Russian exports, but these countries can deliver to Russia almost all the goods that Russia was buying in the West. These goods will have different names, but they will do exactly the same. So, yet again, who benefit and who lost because of these crazy policies of Western elites? Yes, Russian economy was damaged in some sense. Russian society was hurt at some level. After all, West did rise Iron Curtain between the sides, and I don't even know if it's possible now for me, for example, to travel to Europe. I'm not planning to travel anywhere really, but especially in the Western world, but I don't know even if it's even possible. Western embassies will probably not give me a visa. So Western allies did build this Iron Curtain between the sides, and they did try to harm Russia and Russian citizens, but eventually I believe mostly Western elites, by actions of Western elites, will be damaged interests of ordinary citizens of Europe and North America. That's what is happening already. So yes, and when it comes to India and China, they are great partners for Russia, and and this fact once again highlights importance of BRICS. For example, because Russia, India, and China are part of BRICS. So yes, and this is gonna be like two more news, and that's it. So I will go through headlines. International Monetary Fund made statements according to which Russian economy surprisingly did cope with Western pressure surprisingly well. So probably not even in IMF anyone was thinking that Russian economy will withstand this pressure. But yet again, what kind of experts they are if they are surprised so much? I am surprised, but I'm not expert in economics and finances. I can be surprised, but they are claiming that they are top professionals in this field, and if they are surprised, then something is wrong with the education, I believe. And this is last news for today, according to which, and yes, by the way, they did try to explain now why Russian economy did manage to withstand this pressure. So, oh, come on, man. It's not really. I just highlight with this news that, even controlled by Western elites, international, these organizations are recognizing, acknowledging that Russian economy is doing quite well despite Western pressure. And this news is going to be the last one for today's update. Countries that are participating in program of International Space Station decide to continue work on space station until 2030. So that means that space station will receive some additional years of exploitation, at least before end of this decade. Only difference is that Russia, which is also participating in this program, did agree to continue its participation until 2028. Why 2028 and not 2030? I don't know. Maybe for that time Russia will launch its own space station. Maybe, but I don't know. So this is it for now. I hope you will find this video interesting. I try to deliver as many news as I possibly could for this short amount of time. And if you find this video interesting, please hit that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like, and if you can, please share links to my videos with your friends on Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, or any other platform that you are active on. That will greatly increase my chances to reach wider audience. And if you think this channel is interesting, useful, and deserves to exist, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, buy me a coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. This is it for now. Second update will be late in the afternoon on Patreon. Have a nice day and take care.